You followed the rules. You were fair, and you lost. The person who won didn't play fair. They played a different game, with rules you didn't know existed. You were sitting there, wondering how they did it. They didn't raise their voice. They didn't make a scene, but they won, and you lost. And the quiet unfairness of it all is what keeps you awake at night. You don't want revenge. You just want to understand the rules of the game they were playing. The man who wrote the rules of this hidden game was named Niccolò Machiavelli. His name has become a shorthand for evil. We imagine a dark figure, whispering advice into a king's ear, encouraging him to be cruel and dishonest. But the real story is more complicated, and far more human. Machiavelli was not a king. He was a government worker in a city called Florence, in Italy, about 500 years ago. He was a patriot. He loved his city and served it for many years. But politics is a dangerous business. A powerful family, the Medici, took over the city. Machiavelli lost his job. He was accused of plotting against the new rulers. He was arrested. He was tortured. After his release, he was a broken man. He was forbidden from ever working in government again. He moved to his small farm outside the city. Every day, he put on the fine clothes he used to wear to his important job, and he sat in his study. And he wrote. He wrote letters. He wrote plays. And he wrote a short book that would make his name famous forever. It was called The Prince. This book was not meant for you or me. It was a job application. It was Machiavelli's desperate attempt to get his old life back. He sent it to the new ruler of Florence, the very man whose family had ruined him. The book was a message. It said, "You want to know how to hold on to power? I can tell you. I have watched powerful people my whole life. I know what they do to win. It is not pretty. They do not follow the rules of goodness and fairness that they preach to the people. They operate by a different set of rules." Machiavelli was not telling the prince how he should act. He was telling him how powerful people do act. He was simply writing down what he had observed. He saw that leaders who were always kind and honest often lost. Their people suffered when their state was taken over by a more ruthless neighbor. Leaders who were willing to be feared, to be cunning, and sometimes even to be cruel often kept their power. Their states were more stable. Their people were safer, even if they were not happier. This is a difficult idea. We want to believe that good people always win. Machiavelli's great, uncomfortable wisdom was that this is not always true. He separated what is good from what is effective. He wasn't celebrating this fact. He was just pointing it out. He saw the world as a dangerous place, and he believed that protecting a state and its people sometimes required a leader to make hard, unpleasant choices. So when we talk about his ideas, we are not learning to be evil. We are learning to see the world as it sometimes is. We are learning to recognize the game of power so we are no longer its unsuspecting victims. Understanding the game is the first step toward deciding if you want to play, and how. Imagine that in every room you enter, there is a chessboard. You cannot see it, but it is there. In your family, at your job, among your friends. Every social situation is a board, and people are moving pieces on it, whether they know it or not. This is the world Machiavelli described. Power is not just about armies and kings. It is in every human interaction. To navigate this world, you must first see the board. The pieces on this board are moved by human nature. People have deep needs. They need to feel safe. They need to feel like they belong to a group. They need to feel respected. These are not weaknesses. They are just part of being human. A person who understands this can influence others by offering to meet these needs, or by threatening to take them away. Think of a manager at work. They can offer a promotion, which gives you more security and respect. Or they can hint that your job is not secure. They are moving a piece on the board. This isn't necessarily mean. It's just how the system works. People are guided by their hopes and their fears. On this invisible chessboard, words are the most important pieces, but not in the way you might think. Strategic communication is not about using big words or giving beautiful speeches. It is about saying exactly what is needed to make someone act in a way that helps you. This sometimes means using what we can call an economy of truth. This is not lying. A lie can be discovered and will destroy your reputation. An economy of truth is more subtle. It is the careful selection of which facts to share and which to hold back. Imagine two people are selling a house. The house is old. One person says, "This house is old, so it has a lot of problems. The roof might leak. and the plumbing is rusty. The other person says, "This is a historic home with classic character. It's a chance to own a piece of history." Neither person lied. The first person shared all the truths at once and scared the buyer away. The second person selected the truths that painted a better picture. They left out the negative details, knowing the buyer's inspection would find them later. By then, the buyer might already be in love with the idea of the house. The second person understood the economy of truth. They controlled the story. The other pieces on the board are people. Machiavelli had a very cold view of relationships. He believed alliances are tools, not friendships. You form an alliance with someone because you have a shared goal. When that goal is achieved, or when your interests change, the alliance may end. Thinking of a partner in a project as a friend can cause big problems. A friend might forgive a mistake. An ally might not, if that mistake harms your shared goal. This sounds harsh, but it can protect you from disappointment. Expecting a work partner to act like your best friend is a recipe for being let down. An enemy, in this view, is simply someone whose goals get in the way of your own. It is not personal. It is not about hatred. It is about a conflict of interests. A coworker who wants the same promotion you want is, in that single context, an enemy. You do not have to hate them. You might even like them. But you must recognize that your goals are in conflict. Machiavelli would say, it is more dangerous to not see this. If you treat this person only as a friend, you might share information that they can use to get ahead of you. Seeing the board clearly means seeing where interests align and where they clash, without emotion. It allows you to protect yourself. Deception is a strong word. It sounds dishonest. But in the world of strategy, it is a complex tool. Understanding its architecture is not about learning how to lie. It is about learning to see how a structure of manipulation is built, so you do not get trapped inside it. One of the most powerful tools of strategy is the mask of weakness. A person might pretend to be confused, weak, or unintelligent to make their opponent feel superior. When an opponent feels superior, they get careless. They underestimate you. They might reveal their plans, their strengths, and their weaknesses because they do not see you as a threat. Think of a general in a war who orders his army to pretend to be in a panicked retreat. The enemy army, seeing this, might break their own disciplined formation and charge forward wildly, believing victory is easy. They charge right into a trap that the weak general had prepared. The mask of weakness lulled them into making a fatal mistake. You can see this in smaller ways in life. Someone in a meeting might say, "I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Could you explain your plan again?" They may not be confused at all. They may be encouraging the other person to talk more, to give away more information, or to expose a flaw in their own plan by trying to explain it. They are wearing a mask. Another tool is the creation of diversions. If you want to do something important without anyone noticing, you can create a small, loud problem somewhere else. The attention of others is like a spotlight. You can only shine it in one place at a time. A clever person will set a small fire on one side of the stage, so the audience looks there. Meanwhile, they are quietly achieving their real goal on the other side, in the dark. We see this in the news all the time. A loud, emotional story might dominate headlines for a week. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is arguing about it. While everyone is distracted, a quiet, boring-sounding law might be passed that has a much bigger effect on people's lives. The loud story was the diversion. It soaked up all the public's attention. This happens in companies too. A big, dramatic announcement about a new company logo can distract employees from a quiet, more serious change, like cutting certain benefits. The first is easy to see and talk about. The second is hidden in plain sight. None of these tactics work without the most important element: timing. A brilliant plan executed at the wrong moment will fail. Machiavelli knew that opportunity is like a river. It flows past you, and you must be ready to act when it is at the right level. Acting too early is like trying to sail a boat when the river is too low. You will get stuck. Acting too late is like trying to sail after the river has flooded. You will be swept away. Think of it like baking a cake. You have all the right ingredients. You have a perfect recipe. But if you take the cake out of the oven too early, it will be a gooey mess. If you take it out too late, it will be a burnt rock. The ingredients and the recipe were not enough. Your timing had to be right. A strategic person does not just ask, "What should I do?" They ask, "When should I do it?" They watch the world around them. They wait for the right moment. They are patient. When you see someone else waiting patiently, it may be a sign that they are looking for the perfect moment to make their move. Understanding their sense of timing can give you a clue about their real plan. They are waiting for the river to be just right. These ideas can feel old and distant, like something from a history book. But the invisible chessboard is all around us. The game is being played every day, in offices, in stores, and at negotiating tables. Once you know the rules, you start to see it everywhere. Let's watch a business negotiation. A small company is selling their product to a huge corporation. The corporation's team seems friendly. They say they love the product. Then, they bring up a problem. "We love the product," the lead negotiator says, "but our legal department is very concerned about this one small clause in the contract. It's a deal breaker for us. We can't move forward unless it's changed." The small company panics. They spend hours talking to their own lawyers. They focus all their energy on this one clause. Finally, to save the deal, they agree to change it. The corporation's team smiles and says, "Great. Now that that's settled, let's just quickly go over the price." Because the small company is so relieved to have saved the deal, they are now much more willing to agree to a lower price. They feel like they already won the argument over the clause. But what if the clause was never the real issue? What if it was a diversion? The corporation created a fake problem that they could generously give up on in order to get what they really wanted, a lower price. They made the small company focus on the wrong part of the board. Now, let's look at an office. Two people, Anna and Ben, both want to lead a new project. Ben is very talented, but he is quiet. Anna is very social. She has lunch with people from different departments. She listens to their problems. She quietly builds alliances. She never says a bad word about Ben. Instead, when talking to her boss, she uses strategic communication. She says things like, "Ben is a genius with ideas, but he gets so focused that he sometimes misses deadlines. The team needs someone who can keep everything on track." She is framing the situation. She is not lying. Ben has missed a deadline or two, but she is choosing a truth that makes her look like the better choice for a leader. Then, she times her final move. The week before the decision is made, she successfully launches a small, unrelated project and makes sure her boss sees how happy the team is. She has created a fresh, visible success right when it matters most. When the boss makes the decision, he chooses Anna. He thinks he chose the most organized person. He does not see the invisible chessboard or how Anna has been carefully moving the pieces for months. Can these tactics ever be used for good? This is the most difficult question. Imagine a small town where a large factory is polluting the river. The people are getting sick. They protest, but the factory has powerful lawyers and friends in the government. The townspeople are losing. A community organizer decides to play a different game. She knows the factory's owner is very proud of his public image as a family man. She organizes the town's children to write letters to the owner, not about the pollution, but about the dying fish and the birds that no longer sing by the river. They hold a small, peaceful event where they release a single white balloon for every sick person in town. The local news covers it. The story is not about chemicals. It is about sad children. This is a diversion. It distracts from a complex legal fight and creates a simple, emotional story. The organizer also learns that a politician who supports the factory is up for re-election. She forms a quiet alliance with his opponent, sharing information about how unpopular the factory is. She is timing her actions to happen right before an election, when the politician is most vulnerable to public opinion. Is the organizer being manipulative? Yes. Is she doing it to save her town from being poisoned? Yes. The tools are neutral. They can be used to build or to break. The intent behind the action is what gives it its moral color. But the line is very thin, and it is easy to believe your intentions are good while you slowly become the thing you are fighting against. To win the game feels good for a moment. To see your plan work, to outsmart an opponent, can be satisfying. But a life lived entirely on the invisible chessboard comes at a terrible price. The victory comes in a poisoned chalice. You get what you wanted, but you are slowly poisoned by the very methods you used to win. The first thing you lose is trust. When you start to see everyone as a piece on a board, you can no longer see them as a person. Your coworker is not a friend. She is a rival or an ally. Your boss is not a mentor. He is a king to be managed. Your family members are not loved ones. They are players with their own interests. You start to analyze every kind word, looking for the hidden motive. You question every favor, wondering what the person will want in return. This is a lonely way to live. The world becomes a cold, mechanical place. You are the master of the game, but you are playing it alone, because genuine connection requires a vulnerability that you can no longer afford. The constant need to be on guard, to be watching, is exhausting. It is the weight of the crown. It is heavy, and you can never take it off. The second thing you lose is yourself. To be a master of deception, even with small economies of truth, you must wear a mask. You wear one mask for your boss, another for your allies, another for your rivals. After years of wearing masks, you can forget what your own face looks like. The line between the role you are playing and the person you are begins to blur. You say things you do not fully believe because they are strategic. You do things you do not feel good about because they are necessary to win. Each small compromise is a stone laid on a path that leads you further and further away from your own sense of right and wrong. You may have power over others, but you have lost power over your own integrity. You have won the world, but you had lost your soul. This is why we study these ideas. The purpose of learning about Machiavelli is not to become him. The purpose is to understand the game so you can choose not to be its pawn. It is to recognize when someone is placing a mask on their face, so you do not mistake it for the truth. It is to see the diversion so you can keep your eyes on what truly matters. It is to understand that an alliance of interest is not a bond of friendship. The knowledge protects you. It allows you to navigate a complex world with your eyes open. But the greatest power is the freedom to step away from the chessboard. It is the choice to act with honesty, even when it is not strategic. It is the choice to trust someone, even when it is a risk. It is the choice to build something real with other people, based on shared values, not just shared interests. Winning without fighting is a tempting idea. But a victory that costs you your peace of mind and your ability to connect with others is not a victory at all. The real way to win is to build a life where these games are not necessary. The ultimate power is the power to be yourself, in a world that is constantly asking you to be someone else.